This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by the good folks over at ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Fire up ease.com to get your order in, assuming you live in a part of California where delivery is allowed and that it's during legal delivery hours. Today's special deal gives you 25% off all universal vaporizer cartridges from Jetty on orders $50 and up. Ease has a great rotating set of daily deals that you can always check out at their website at ease.com, where you can browse their wide range of legal California marijuana products, all of which are available for delivery in less than an hour. Make the most of these last few remaining days of summer by letting Ease bring the dispensary to you. Ease only works with the top dispensaries in their active areas, so you know you're in for a great customer experience. One more time, that's ease.com, which is spelled E-A-Z-E. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, September 5th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 564 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story today starts us off in Canada, where cannabis-related stocks trading on the Canadian Securities Exchange have been on a bit of a tear recently, with the price per share for licensed producer Tilray jumping 300% over just the last month. Business Insider has a good story up about a deal just announced yesterday between cannabis cultivator the Cronos Group and Ginkgo Bioworks, a biotechnology company that will genetically engineer THC and other cannabinoids for the Cronos Group. The $122 million deal helped boost the stock price of the Cronos Group 11% yesterday, as well as associated stocks like Canopy Growth and Tilray by similar percentages. This is a volatile and dynamic story, which I'd suggest you open up in full. As Oklahoma rolls out its new medical marijuana program to great interest from both marijuana entrepreneurs and prospective patients, one possible point of friction within their planned medical cannabis program is becoming apparent. And that's the lack of interest among Oklahoma doctors in becoming recommending agents. The Associated Press and Marijuana Business Daily have a good piece up that finds that just 38 doctors in the state have so far opted in to help people get medical cannabis recommendations, while two of the largest healthcare systems have announced a ban on their physicians from the program entirely. This is one of those programs that's a product of the disparity between federal and state cannabis law. We wrap up today's top stories with a jump back up to Canada, where licensed producer Aurora Cannabis has announced a $200 million debt financing deal with the Bank of Montreal. The funding will come in the form of a $50 million line of credit and a $150 million loan, all of which will be used to help Aurora fund their ongoing operations as well as their expansion plans within Canada and abroad. There are a couple of especially important points on this one, both the large deal size itself and the fact that the financing came about through the Bank of Montreal, which is as grade A as you can get when it comes to old school financial institutions. It's a clear sign of the growing comfort level big finance has with legal marijuana, at least in Canada. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. One of the problems with becoming an Ease customer is that you get kind of used to how easy they make it to get properly tested, packaged, and labeled California marijuana delivery. After getting used to that kind of great service, it can be a bit of a shock to the system to have to go back to the old way of getting into your car and fighting traffic to drag yourself off to the dispensary yourself. Keep that in mind when considering whether to open up ease.com to check out your options. You might not want to get accustomed to just how easy Ease makes legal cannabis delivery. Or maybe you do. You probably do. Anyways, you've been warned. If you think you can stomach the awesomeness of being an Ease customer, then you just need to swing over to ease.com, spelled E-A-Z-E, to get your order in. It takes just a minute or two to place your order and less than an hour to take delivery. What a world we live in. Big thanks to everyone at ease.com for making legal marijuana so easy and for helping support today's news. All right, time for the Blitz. Forbes has a good story up looking at a planned deal between a legal marijuana company with operations in Canada and Jamaica and the nonprofit organization, the National Foundation for the Development of Science and Technology, to catalog and analyze Jamaica's landrace marijuana strains. The 10-year project will be funded with $2 million from the Jamaica Medical Cannabis Corporation and was first announced earlier this summer. Yesterday, the Virginia Board of Pharmacy announced that it would be keeping confidential the meetings held to evaluate medical marijuana business license applications. The board's chair announced the closed committee policy after it was decided that the state's medical marijuana business licenses were to be treated as if they were medical license applications, which are exempt from Virginia's open government laws, which normally keep all meetings having to do with public contracts and licensing open to the public. Leafly has a good story up, diving into the positive effects for legal marijuana that candidate Cynthia Nixon has had in New York State as she's battled incumbent Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Democratic gubernatorial primary race. By being loud about the need to embrace more sensible cannabis laws, Ms. Nixon has helped drive more swiftly Governor Cuomo into the pro-marijuana camp. This is a good story to read for some background on marijuana politics in the Empire State. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Voices of San Diego ran some numbers looking at local crime and its relation to legal cannabis dispensaries in that California city and found that for the most part, legal marijuana isn't driving much, if any, proximate criminal activity. Their analysis looked at the number of calls to emergency services made in the first 6 months of this year. In all, each of San Diego's 13 dispensaries were responsible for around one call each per month. Those calls also weren't all made within or even about the dispensaries, rather simply within the same area where the legal pot shops are located. It's not a giant sample size, but nonetheless, it's a good study to have on the books. Polly Washburn, one of the newer writers over at Marijuana Moments, put a lot of time into a long-form article examining where exactly within the U.S. can a person hold a marijuana cigarette in their hand, maybe even smoke it a little, without being violently seized and locked up by the police. Overall, around 57% of all Americans live in a place now where marijuana has some measure of legality, but Polly goes way into the numbers to break that down by state and even city. Another one I'd open up today. The Desert Sun has a story up about police and government authorities cracking down on unlicensed marijuana businesses in California that I think is worthy of a read and ponder. The main push of the Sun's piece is that legal California marijuana operators are happy about unlicensed operators getting in trouble. That's an understandable position to have in a state where staying in compliance with the law can be so costly. While it's hard to reasonably argue for throwing people in jail for using and selling marijuana, there does need to be some enforcement mechanism in place to bolster the legal market. So some middle ground will have to be found. And finally for today, Bart Shainman over at Marijuana Business Daily is reporting that the ongoing supply glut for legal adult use cannabis in Oregon is pushing many cultivators to embrace industrial hemp, which carries further restrictions on its growth, processing, and sales. Oregon is an interesting state with 1,000 interesting cannabis industry storylines, and this is definitely one of them. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the lesser strengths of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.